Righto, next project is a set of shelves. I'm going to use this skinny, crappy pallet wood. Again, I'm going to make my own stock for that. And I've also got a heap of this, of my pallet bricks left over from the last build of that super long bench. You can check that out up there, wherever it is. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to resaw all that, make up some nice flat pieces, and then those colours and tones will tie in with that big bench that's in the same room. All right, let's check out how I did it. Alrighty, so part one of this build is basically doing some ladder style shelving supports. And again, I'm going to use dirty old pallets. I'm going to trim them down on the table saw, laminate them together because I want to end up with a nice square profile. Right, this music's a bit how you going, but I'm committed, let's carry on. Okay, so just 3 pieces laminated together. I'll do all those in one hit. Just make sure you don't get any glue in between your pieces because that tight bond will stick them together real quick. I'm using the table saw. I'm just going to clean off, square it up as best I can, and then I'm going to lay them all down together, and I'm going to mark out all my provisions to cut some rebates. So I'm going to recess all the cross pieces that actually hold the shelf up. So on the miter saw, just trim off all the edges in one go, and then what's next? The cross pieces. So I've set up a stop block, and I'll trim those up and cut all those to size, and they are going to slot into the rebates, which I'm going to cut very soon. Okay, so I'm going to set the depth of the table saw to exactly the thickness of one of these pallet slats, because measuring, that is for professionals, okay? But anyway, I've clamped them together and I'm going to cut all 4 all in one go. It's a beautiful thing. It's a good arm workout, but it's definitely quicker. Quick clean up with the chisel, check that it fits. Didn't fit, but a couple more how's your father's with the old table saw, and you're good to go. So old Bandy McBandsaw, it's getting a workout on every project now, so I can remove the rebates for the top and bottom quite easily with the bandsaw. Saves all the back and forth on the table saw, and it is super fast. Love it. Okay, I've just countersunk the back side of the shelf supports. Then I'm just going to glue and screw all of the cross beams into their rebates to form this ladder, which will be one of the shelf supports. Don't forget, check square. Check square. It's square, it's all good, trust me, I checked. Okay, and that is the supports. Let's move on to the shelving. Nicer timber. So like I said earlier, these are all the leftover pallet bricks that I made for the big ass bench. So if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check that one out next. Don't leave just yet, you got to finish watching this one, obviously. But I'm going to resaw them all down the guts and make these nice slimline shelves, so then they tie in with the same tones and colours in that same room that I'm working on at the moment. Alrighty, so I'm now just going to lay these out in that bricklaying method, which will again match the big ass bench. Simply gluing and clamping. Yes, you could biscuit dowel, do whatever you want, but there's more than enough gluing surface on this that they're not going to fall apart. And I don't have a biscuit cutter, but I now have a router bit that will cut biscuits. So look out for that in the future. Right, quickly back over to the shelf. So painting them blue, that was originally to match the blue wall that is in the shop, but that's been changed to black. All right, so trimming the shelves up now. I started doing it on the table saw, but then I realized I've got this U-Butte Bosch that's actually square, unlike my old Azito. So I took them over there and sorted them out. And then back to the table saw, cutting them down to the correct width so they slide into those shelves nicely. And luckily for me, the width of this shelf actually goes through the thicknesses, so I can flatten these both sides in about 10 minutes. Job done. Righto, okay, what are we doing here? Okay, look at me go measuring out something and actually using a plan. So I've actually stacked all 3 shelves up together, cut them to exactly the same length with the miter saw. Dunsky. And here's a rando camera angle just to show you that it actually worked. Next step, I've got this nice Merbau. Still don't know. Anyway, it's off a deck. These shelves need some edge capping just to stop product falling off the back or off the side. So I'm going to use that because it's a similar tone. It's going to wrap around both sides and the back, just like this. So all cut the size. It's just a case of gluing, screwing and clamping to form that barrier on 3 sides. Fair dinkum, what is going on with this music? Anyway, I've got a fair bit going on lately. During this whole corona lockdown, I've not been locked down at all, and my wife is moving shop, so I've had my ass hanging out building furniture. Right. Okay, so just on the end caps here, I've just gone with a countersink and a screw and going with a little bit of putty. In the future, maybe I'll get a little bit more professional and maybe put some dowels in and then use one of those fancy Japanese saws and cut the dowels off. It'll be beautiful, it'll make for great Instagram footage. And James from Fix It Fingers, he's found one, bought one, tested it, loves it. That's good enough for me. That's the one I'm going to get. I'll link it down the bottom so you can click on those and go find yourself one as well. Okay, here we go, stage 3, the base cabinets. The shop needs lots of storage. I don't like making drawers and there's way too many to make, so I've basically bought these 3 little bedside tables, side tables, whatever they are, screwed them together, and now I'm basically going to cover the top and one side with pallet wood. So glue, screw, clean it all up, check it's all square, and belt sand the living bejesus out of it, and a bit of paint, and you'll have a pretty effective base cabinet with lots of storage. Beautiful. So I just quickly mentioned that little bit of trimming you can see there with the square hanging off it. That's not actually to help me attach this pallet wood. That is to provide some space between the edge of the pallet wood and the drawers. So just a lesson learned from the big ass bench. When I made that one around some drawers and shut the drawers, they didn't shut. So that counters that little routine. All right, so thought we already did this part, but this is me attaching the top glue and screw, clamp. Some of this pallet wood, it is flimsy, but it has got a little bow in it. I just used a bit of a pipe clamp and pulled them in together, straightens them out pretty effortlessly, which is coming up right now. There it is, perfect, just like that. Drill, screw, glue. Awesome stuff. Skip ahead about 20 seconds if you want. Okay, the bejesus has been belt sanded out of it. I've chucked a bit of spack fillet in all the drill holes, and now I'm going to go and get to work on raising this cabinet off the ground, or making a bit of a kickboard, if you will. So I've got this really nice straight pine, which also came off a pallet. I think it's basically brand new, so not really recycling, I'm just taking it. It's mine. I'm going to use it just like this. So pretty simple. I'm going to glue and screw straight through the chipboard. Again, it's not overly structural, but it's just going to do the job to raise it off the ground and allow those bottom drawers to slide freely and not hit the ground. Make sense? Awesome. Righto, so all 3 parts are made, the base, the frame and the shelves. I'm now, and they're still blue by the way, still blue, but I'm now just squaring everything up and then screwing the shelves into the frame. So this is going to be rebuilt in the shop, but I'm just making sure it's modular, I guess. Awesome opportunity to say check square 4,000 times, because that in reality is what happened. But we won't go there. Okay, with the shelving beautifully squared up and nice and plumb in position, I can now drill straight through my framework here and then get my marking holes in the base cabinet. So I'm going to go with some threaded bolts, when I absolutely love these things. And this is basically going to pull that shelving down into its base cabinet. It's not going to topple over in the shop. But these things, they are unreal. I love them. Love them. And this is me painting, ready to install. And here we are where we are at the shop. Threaded bolts are in, and then they just slot into position, do them up. Now I know that everything's going to be super square because all the holes are pre-done. You'll now notice that the framework is black. Another great decision by the wife. So she's all over it. Loves the colour. Guru. Sorted. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Base cabinet. I don't make the drawers. Just remember that. With some shelving and shelving supports in this sort of ladder style. It's pretty effective. It's going to be covered in makeup products. See that bench in the background? Made that also. There's also a video on that if you get real keen. All right, that's it. Thanks again for watching. Catch you later.